Hey, Alex.
What?
So when you're on a boat and you're on like a rocky ocean, and you're drifting out to sea, what's the best way to keep your boat like sturdy and just staying still?
Oars?
No, not even close. You throw out your anchor.
Oh, your anchor. Oh,
Yep,
okay.
You throw out your anchor. You know what I like to do to keep my podcast steady and just sturdy while everything else seems to be rocky and wavy around me?
Not oars, right?
Not oars. It's Anchor again.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Anchor.fm. Let me explain. This app is free, completely free to host your podcast on.
Like 100% free?
100% free. And you get unlimited storage for all your episodes.
Unlimited?
Unlimited.
Unlimited.
As Russell Wilson would say.
Yes.
That's right. It's also got creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer.
Well, I'm all about that.
I know. And it also distributes your podcast for you, so it can be heard on the likes of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all of them.
What's not to like?
It's great. You can even make money from your podcast, Alex.
And we're all about that.
And you don't need minimum listenership. So,
That's
good. That's a real good thing. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. You need to download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started.
I'm getting right on it right now.
Keep your boat and your podcast sturdy.
Whoa. That's a big one.
We're back.
It's been a while.
We are back. The Fantasy Chairmen podcast. And I am Ben.
And I'm Alex.
And today, Alex, we're joined by somebody super special.
Super special.
Super special.
Super.
Making his podcast debut. Runner-up to you in both the Dynasty League of the Fantasy Chairmen and the Big League.
Oh, yeah.
The formerly known as the Game of Zones, the League of Origin. And that super special podcast debuter runner-up guy is none other than Chance. Chance, how you doing, buddy?
I was doing a lot better till you brought that back up again.
All right, Chance, we'll have to remind you, this is a family-friendly show, so you can't really tell us how you feel, okay? So
I was gonna
fair
say,
enough.
I was gonna
I'll
say,
keep it PG.
I'm gonna stir up some bad feelings of Chance here and just see if we can catch him with an F-bomb or two.
just stir him up and then hit him with the Emperor.
I was trying. Oh man,
Hit him with a
we've
hay.
got
Hit him with a Hyde. Hit him with the power. Oh, man. That's what happens when you get 2 straight years of Dynasty League Championship. You just Emperor reigns supreme.
I cheered for Alex because he lost for so long in the League of Origin, which was originally named Alex Will Lose, that I felt bad. So I gave him my blessing in the big league. And now he's just kind of got a big head. I don't know. It's time to bring him back down a notch. So
I think of all of our past champions, I have the least big head of all of them because I've been humbled.
You spent,
Many a time.
Spent 9 years getting humbled.
I know what it is.
But you were a 2-time winner. And both of you, I'm sitting here talking to you guys. I should be the one upset. Both of you were in both championships.
Oh, well.
Leave some for the rest of us.
Oh, well.
You turds.
Nope.
Skill is skill.
Skill is skill. Get that out of here. Good grief. Well, it's been a while. There's been a whole lot that's happened since our last episode that we had. free agency has pretty much come and gone at this point.
Yeah, there's kind of some straggler signings out there still happening, but yeah, pretty much.
But most of the big names are off the market. Mm-hmm. All the running backs that we were speculating in what was going to be a historic running back free agency class kind of petered out.
Surprise, surprise. A lot of them re-signed with their same team.
Yep. And now it's all just kind of gearing up for the draft, which will be coming up at the end of this month. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm hyped for rookie draft. How about you, Chance?
No. Don't have the picks.
Oh, that's right. You don't have any picks in the rookie draft, so never mind.
Goodness. Do you have any picks in the rookie draft?
Yeah, I've got a few thirds.
A few thirds.
No, I got that 210 that I moved up one spot from Campbell.
That's right, yeah.
So
I think you're still higher up than me, though.
Yeah, I think so. I might have 2 picks higher up than yours still. Oh, yeah, you only have like a 4th rounder.
No, I got a 3rd rounder.
Oh, do you? Okay. Fair enough.
You guys, we're going to get closer to draft day, and you guys are going to feel the thirst. You're going to want to move up. You're going to want to move up. There's going to be a lot of drool-worthy players.
We'll see. We might have a little bit of that this episode, but we'll save that for an upcoming episode, talking all the rookies, some draft prospects.
Little pre-draft show.
Yep. But today, it's all about free agency. Checking out who signed where, who signed what, who's going to impact who's going to suck now, who's going to own the night. We'll see.
That's true.
That's true. That's for you guys to tell us. So what we're going to do talking about free agency here is just looking through on NFL.com, taking a look at all the signings. We're going to go by divisions here. So we'll start up in the AFC East and go through team by team. And as I read out, we're going to look mainly at all the offensive signings, obviously, because that's going to be the biggest fantasy impact. So we're going to look at all the offensive players that signed, and then those that you guys think are going to be the most impactful fantasy-wise. We'll kind of talk about them a little bit, and you guys give your takes on, what you think they're going to do, or if they're going to affect players that are already on that team in either a positive or negative light. And just kind of, we're just going to kind of shoot from the hip this episode and just talk the crazy free agency period that's pretty much winded down at this point.
And we're just talking fantasy-wise players, correct?
Yeah.
Wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, quarterbacks?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Just all looking
even though
fantasy.
I know, there's some big-time offensive lineman signings out there that could really affect some fantasy players, but we'll stick to just the fantasy players for now.
If we see something like that, it wouldn't hurt to bring it up, but yes, we're going to mainly just look at fantasy impact of skill position players. All right.
Okie doke.
All right. Well, I don't have a fancy drop for free agency, so I'm just going to do this.
You're better than that.
Thank you, Rocky.
Oh.
Okay.
I missed you.
Well, we'll get some new ones here as we move along into the new NFL season, but Rocky's classic. I mean,
he's going to be with us.
He inspired Alex to his double championship, so
he did.
Oh, okay.
He let me know.
Sorry, Chance. All right, well, we'll start up in the AFC East here, so we're going to be talking the Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots, and the New York Jets. And starting with the Buffalo Bills, we had a few offensive signees here in free agency, starting with quarterback Mitch Trubisky. They also signed 2 running backs in Matt Breida and Tywan Jones. And in the wide receivers, they re-signed Isaiah McKenzie and Brandon Powell, and then Emmanuel Sanders. And Emmanuel Sanders is probably the biggest of those. Any major fantasy impacts here that you think are going to impact people? Let's start with Chance.
Yeah, Emmanuel Sanders, he's the old vet, so I think he's just going to have the average year. You can maybe plug and play maybe once or twice a year, but other than that, I'm not seeing much out of this new signings here.
They didn't bring back John Brown. Are you thinking that Emmanuel Sanders is going to fill in that role, Alex?
I was going to say it's just probably just the John Brown replacement. He's probably just going to fill that exact same role. You'll probably see there was a lot of people before Emmanuel Sanders signed there that were pretty hyped on what Gabriel Davis did last year too. Now they're thinking that might kind of pull away from the high expectations for this upcoming year, but I'm still pretty excited to see what Gabe Davis can do. So, and I think Sanders will just kind of be that maybe third down, target to kind of move the chains when you're not throwing, deep, dirty bombs to Stephon Diggs. So yeah, probably just the John Brown replacement, really.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy.
Might affect Gabriel Davis a little negatively there, but Stephon Diggs just going to keep Stephon digging.
Oh, yeah. He's just going to keep on digging.
Keep on digging.
It could help Davis. I mean, draw some more attention away from Davis, so you never know.
Yeah. I did miss that they also signed Jacob Hollister, tight end out of Seattle.
Don't forget Jacob Hollister, dude.
Any fantasy impact that Dawson Knox was getting, I mean, does that just...
I'm not really interested.
Tight end landscape's disgusting anyway, so...
Yeah. Not interested in any tight end here, so...
Josh Allen's not looking at him. He's going to continue not looking at him, so...
Yeah,
pretty much.
Mitch Trubisky going to be pushing Josh Allen for his job.
Double quarterback sets. Watch out.
I do think the Trubisky signing was a good one as a backup,
because he's a
mobile, similar play style to what Josh Allen.
He's an extremely watered down version of Josh Allen.
He's the rookie year version of Josh Allen.
He saw when they thought they could, have the same game plan though throughout the game and at least manage it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So not a bad signing there, but Mitch Trubisky loses all fantasy value that he ever had.
Sorry, dude.
Man, going down to the Miami Dolphins, the resurgent Miami Dolphins now, who we'll talk about in Rumor Mill a little later. They made a few signings of offensive players, starting with Jacoby Brissett is now with the Dolphins, gonna be the backup to Tua there, and then they signed Malcolm Brown, running back there. I actually didn't know that one. Wide receiver Mack Hollins signed there as well. And then probably the biggest one right here is they signed wide receiver Will Fuller out of Houston, getting away from the Texans while that organization slowly
while the getting was good.
slowly dissolves.
Sheesh.
So
sheesh.
So what's the big verdict here in free agency for the Dolphins? How are you guys thinking they did here?
Yeah, I mean, outside of Will Fuller, their big time haul this offseason is going to be in the draft with their draft picks, so which we'll kind of talk about a little later. But you're going to see a lot. Will Fuller signed a 1-year deal. You're going to see a lot of these free agents sign 1-year deals. So it's because the TV deals are going to be restructured this next year. So lots of 1-year prove it deals or 1 year get that guaranteed money and then shoot for a huge contract next year. But Will Fuller, as long as Tua is progressing and he'll feels comfortable to throw those deep shots down the field, it could be a good fit. You never know.
Oh yeah. What do you think, Chance? We saw Will Fuller kind of start to thrive there, and then he got suspended for PEDs for the last 6 games of the season or whatever. Think he takes over?
Will Fuller, as long as he doesn't get suspended and stays off that injury list, I mean, he's a deep threat guy that I think Tua, if he's in trouble, he's just going to throw it up to him. So he could have a good year, just like Alex was saying, depends on how well Tua develops into a starting quarterback. So,
any relevance for Malcolm Brown signing here, running back?
No, I think that just
no
way.
Don't think so. Nobody.
No.
I think he's just depth because Gaskin got hurt at one point last year, and then I believe Miami will draft one of the running backs, the relevant running backs in this draft class. So it'll be a Gaskin yeah, it's just an insurance.
I will say, Alex, is that if they draft a running back, which is pretty speculated as well, if they draft a running back and that running back and Gaskin get injured and Malcolm Brown has to start, whoever owns Malcolm Brown is going to start them, and you're going to be playing them, and Malcolm Brown's going to score 3 touchdowns against you.
The last 2 years, I have been burned by Malcolm Brown, and you know who had the person to burn me with Malcolm Brown? It was Chance. Yeah. It was the first game of the year.
Start of the season.
Yeah, first game of the year every year. Started Malcolm Brown against me, and he goes off for like 20 plus fantasy points.
Every time.
I'm pretty sure I've started the last 2 years 0-1 because of Malcolm Brown.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love it. All right. Team in the AFC East here that's been making the biggest noise in free agency is the New England Patriots. So there is a whole lot to dissect among the Patriots here. They started by re-signing quarterback Cam Newton, bringing him back. Bill, yeah, he's our guy. We're gonna Cam's great. We're bringing him back. We have full faith in Cam. We're not interested in Jimmy Garoppolo, but wait a minute. We might be interested in Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, my gosh.
They re-signed running back James White. So James White coming back. That is smart. And then get into some wide receivers with Nelson Aguilar getting just a massive contract for Nelson Aguilar. And then Kendrick Bourne bringing him in as well. And then the two big ones that people were really just kind of blown up about. And when the first one signed, everybody jumped on it and was hyped for the potential that this guy would have. And that was tight end Jonnu Smith. Mm-hmm. And then the very next day, they signed tight end Hunter Henry from LA. So what do we think here, Chance? So we got two major tight end signings, and they have Cam Newton there now. What are the Patriots doing?
You know what? They spent a lot of money on wide receivers and tight ends that I'm not totally confident what they're doing. Jonnu Smith, I thought was a great sign. I was excited for Jonnu. I love Jonnu, but then they signed Hunter Henry. And man, that's a lot of money to throw at tight ends. So I'm thinking they're just kind of looking for some outlets for Cam Newton, not having a great passing year last year. So have Hunter Henry, that big tight end, set up behind your linebackers, and Jonnu, being athletic as he is, kind of setting them up all over the field. And you got Nelson Aguilar, he can do on the deep threat every now and then, but I don't think he's going to be getting $26 million worth of productivity out of him.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. What do we think, Alex, of these signings? Fantasy impact. What's happening?
I mean, the tight ends between Henry and Jonnu is just, man, that's gross. I mean, good luck figuring out which one's going to be the one you want to play.
People are speculating like, are we going to see resurgence of the Aaron Hernandez, Rob Gronkowski days?
It could very well happen, which, I mean, when that was happening, both were pretty relevant. I mean, they were both pretty darn good, but at the same time you had Tom Brady throwing to them, so able to utilize them. The GOAT.
True.
So,
that's true.
Like Cam Newton's not Tom Brady?
No, not even close. But yeah, it's just going to be, man, it's going to be a headache every week between Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. And then, yeah, who knows which one is going to be blocking more that week or not. So it's probably a situation I want to avoid entirely if I can. And then the wide receivers, man, I don't know. I mean, Nelson Aguilar, he showed some pretty good games last year. So, and the Patriots need wide receivers. So
yeah,
he might get all the targets he can handle.
Yeah,
whatever that might be.
It's possible. I'm kind of thinking game plan for the Patriots this year is just going to be run, pass to the tight end, run, pass to the tight end, run. Oh, Nelson, take a deep shot, and then it gets overthrown or underthrown by 5 yards.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I'd say fantasy-wise with these pass catchers, I wouldn't trust them until you start getting consistent output from them. So maybe week 5, week 6, if you're seeing consistent output, I probably wouldn't be starting any of them right now.
Well, as a dynasty owner of Hunter Henry, I think he's going to explode in this offense, and he's currently on the block. So you guys should put out whatever major offers you possibly can for Hunter Henry.
Yeah, how do you feel about it? Clearly, putting him on the trade block, that's how you feel.
I'm just, if you guys want to send me a King's bounty for Hunter Henry because he's going to do so well in what the Patriots have planned, then yeah, I feel great. I feel great about it.
As long as he gets off your team and you get something for it.
Yeah. There is a full other list of defensive players that the Patriots signed here. So they went all in on defense as well. And they're getting all those players back that sat out this last year because of COVID. So Patriots are going to be interesting. Yeah. They're going to be interesting. Hard to speculate on right now, especially if they do end up going after Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, we'll see.
That'll just muddy the waters even further.
Gross.
Mm-hmm. All right. New York Jets. Not a ton to talk about here, except for maybe one we've got. They signed running back Josh Adams, re-signed him. And then they signed running back Tevin Coleman out of San Francisco. They let him get away from Kyle Shanahan there.
Which, yeah, that's a good thing.
Then they signed wide receiver Keelan Cole from the Jaguars, and then Corey Davis, Chance's beloved Corey Davis from the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, that was the big signing here.
Yep. Also tight end Tyler Kroft from Buffalo. They signed him. So thoughts fantasy-wise on the free agent signings on the offensive side for the Jets?
What do you think? All kind of depends on what the Jets do at number 2. So what quarterback they're going to take. So
they have a different number 2 now. It's not Gase.
Oh, that's true. True.
It's a new number 2. This is a good 2.
I actually don't mind the wide receiving core of Corey Davis, Keelan Cole, and who was the rookie? I'm blanking on him now. Denzel Mims. From last year. I don't think they're going to be able to retain Jamison Crowder. I think he's going to be counting for quite a bit of money against the cap. So I think he's going to be a cap casualty. But yeah, I don't mind that wide receiving core so much. And then Tevin Coleman, I think the Jets are going to sign a running back as well. So, Coleman might seem like the running back one for this team right now, but it could just as easily be the backup after the draft. So
Gotcha. Chance, you think Corey Davis has enough to be a wide receiver 1 in this offense?
It depends on the quarterback situation. If it's Sam Darnold, no one on here is wide receiver 1.
Yeah, Chance was telling me the other day he's completely lost faith in Sam Darnold.
Yeah, he's a typical USC quarterback in the NFL. We got another Matt Leinart or Mark Sanchez here so far. So.
Oh,
just that highly drafted,
that's what
highly
I'm
touted.
So far. I hope that Adam Gase is gone. It'll turn around. He shows up and proves me wrong. Great. Then I'll love this wide receiving core. But until I see something more out of him,
is Sam Darnold's ceiling Carson Palmer?
Yes.
There were some pretty good years with Carson Palmer.
There
was good years. I was telling Ben this the other day. I really like Carson Palmer. He was a good quarterback, but he struggled a lot of years too. So I think that's about as good as you're going to get Sam Darnold. So,
well, we'll see. Lots of players turn their games in 180 degrees once the number 2's gone. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah, that was my argument to Chance was, hey, when Gase leaves, when that fantasy soul sucker is just gone, the Dementor himself,
the fantasy Dementor,
when he's gone, you see people thrive. So hoping the best for Sam Darnold.
Yeah, prove me wrong, Sam Darnold. I want to see Corey Davis have an amazing year this year. So.
Everybody just wants one more argument against Gase as well. All right, moving into the AFC North, going to be talking Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals. the Cleveland Browns, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And starting with the Ravens, not a ton of offensive moves here. They signed tight end Josh Oliver, which was acquired in a trade with the Jaguars. And then wide receiver Sammy Watkins leaving the Chiefs after making all that money that he made there and signing with the Baltimore Ravens. Thoughts on Sammy Watkins going to the Ravens?
Don't want him.
Is that consensus here, Chance? We're
That's
just
consensus. I'm not touching Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, that receiving game with the Ravens is just so hit or miss right now, and hopefully Lamar can take a step forward.
Yeah, and it was rumored that the Ravens were interested in a number of wide receiver or free agent wide receivers to try and bring them in to make them their number one, but everyone passed on them because I truly believe that no one really believes in their passing game. I mean, it's not great.
Yeah, they tried for Juju, and did they try for Corey Davis as well, or was that?
I think they tried for Juju. I think they were going to bring in Gallaudet.
Right? Yeah. But yeah,
they tried for T.Y. Hilton there too before he signed with the Colts.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Yeah, they just know that the passing game numbers are going to go down. They're not going to have as many opportunities, and that means worse stats typically. So, is Sammy Watkins an upgrade over Willie Snead?
I guess, yeah. I mean,
Right.
I'd take Sammy Watkins over Willie Snead.
All right, right on. That was the one thing I wanted to clear up.
They bumped it up.
Moving on to the Cincinnati Bengals. We've got not very many moves made here either. Just re-signed quarterback Brandon Allen, and then re-signed running back Samaje Perine. And that's about it. Made some moves with the defense. Signed quite a few defensive players there. But other than that, not much of a fantasy impact offensive player-wise with the Bengals. Cleveland Browns signed 2 wide receivers. They re-signed Rashard Higgins and then signed JoJo Natson.
Never heard of him.
JoJo Natson.
Nope.
JoJo. So re-signed Rashard Higgins. We saw Rashard have a pretty good rapport with Baker Mayfield there in Cleveland. So good guy to have if Landry or Odell go down is really all I see him as.
Even then, I'm not really excited to start him in fantasy land. So
he had a good stretch there when he was kind of one of the main guys. But yeah, you're
started
right there.
throwing in People Jones there though too. So
that's true, and they still have him as well. All right, moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. A little bit more movement with the offensive players here. They signed running back Kalen Ballage.
Oh, no.
The Bellagio man going to be taking over, lead back in Pittsburgh. Re-signed Ray McLeod. And then re-signed Juju Smith-Schuster coming back to Pittsburgh when it sounded like that was not going to be a possibility whatsoever. Those wide receivers in Pittsburgh, we got Juju, Deontay, Claypool. Who's going to be the one? What's going on there?
I think
somebody tell me who's going to be the one, please.
Chance, what do you think?
I want to know.
You know what? Juju had his shot to be that number one guy after Antonio Brown left, and he did not fulfill up to it. I think he's a solid 2 or 3. So I'm thinking it's got to be Deontay Johnson or Chase Claypool that says up and takes over that number one spot.
So how are you ranking them then?
Rank them,
1
Chance.
through 3.
Rank them, Chance.
I'll go Deontay, Smith-Schuster, then Claypool.
Ooh, okay.
That's probably what I would do as well. I'd say Deontay 1, Smith-Schuster 2, and Claypool 3.
I actually think I would put Juju 1, then Deontay 2, and then Claypool 3, just because I think Ben Roethlisberger he restructured his deal to stick with the Steelers as well. And I think I don't know it for a fact, but I believe that one of the big things was probably to try and get Juju back as well, because he does. I mean, they have a great rapport together. So, and Juju did take a 1-year deal. So I think Ben knows that if he's going to have a good year, he needs to have Juju there with him. So a target that he knows and has a good connection with. So, but good luck. Good luck on trying to figure out who's going to get the red zone target. So, I mean,
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a little sticky there in Pittsburgh trying to figure out who actually is the one. Moving on to the AFC South now. Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans. Starting with the dumpster fire Texans, Houston Texans. Oh, you guys, it's a mess. Just looking at this list is
making you
kind
throw
of
up a little bit in your
disgusting.
mouth.
So they acquired Ryan Finley in a trade with the Bengals. First off, who trades for Ryan Finley? Weird.
The Texans.
Houston Texans.
Then they sign Tyrod Taylor to a 1-year deal that could be worth up to $12.5 million, which is not backup money. So that's interesting. And then they go out and they've got David Johnson on the roster, but they decide to sign 33-year-old Mark Ingram and then Phillip Lindsay, who parted ways with Denver there. And then they went out and jumped on the stellar wide receiver free agency market and signed Chris Conley, Andre Roberts, Alex Erickson, and Dante Moncrief. And then, just to add to their mess of tight ends that they had before, they got Farrell Brown and Ryan Izzo in a trade with the Patriots. Ryan Izzo. So
it's all gross.
The Texans, you guys. I am so glad I'm not a Houston fan.
Yeah. I'd be changing
I am
teams
not
right
touching
now.
these guys fantasy wise.
I mean, what do you even do? You've got this group of wide receivers that's just like, oh, they were all third string guys on their own teams before this.
At best.
At best. If not the fourth or fifth option.
I mean, the only wide receiver on the Texans that you are sure about is Brandon Cooks right now. So,
and I mean, depending on the quarterback situation there,
even that, yeah,
we might discuss just in a little bit during the rumor mill. Just touch on it. But
running backs, though, what running back do you want? David Johnson, Mark Ingram, Phillip Lindsay?
I don't know. There's a lot of talk that Mark Ingram was mainly just like a locker room signing because he's that hype man presence to come in and God knows that the Texans need some morale and
that's an expensive hype man.
Something built up.
$1.5 million hype man.
That's an expensive hype man.
When you look at NFL deals, though, I mean, $1.5 million, really. The veteran minimum is $1 million, so. They only gave him another $500,000 on that.
I'll go be a hype man for $500,000.
I will too.
I'll go hype everybody.
Absolutely. Tyrod Taylor was interesting because it's a 1-year deal that could be worth up to $12 million. Obviously, not a backup quarterback contract. So, if Deshaun Watson sticks around for however anything plays out with all that, then they have the most expensive backup quarterback in the league? Or is it like this was a good signing because whether criminal charges go through on Deshaun and he can't play or he gets traded, then they have their temporary starter in Tyrod Taylor? I mean...
Yeah. Either way, not interested.
What happens with Brandon Cooks if it's Tyrod, though?
I mean,
do you believe in the 1,000-yard season and the?
I would still start. I mean, look at everything else around him. Like he's going to get hyper targeted.
I think just based on that alone,
sheer volume, he'll get points.
Oh yeah, no, but Chance, I'm with you. Just if I can, I'm staying away from it fantasy wise. Disgusting.
Yeesh.
Disgusting. There is a mess being made in Houston, and nobody wants to be part of it. The Indianapolis Colts signed traded for Carson Wentz with the Philadelphia Eagles, and then re-signed running back Marlon Mack, brought him back after, was that an Achilles tear that he suffered?
Uh-huh.
And then brought back wide receiver T.Y. Hilton, who had gone to visit the Ravens, but ultimately decided to come back to Indianapolis. Carson Wentz with the Colts now. What do we think?
I think it's going to be better than Phillip Rivers. That's for sure. Personally. Horse glue
Rivers.
I think Carson Wentz is getting another shot here. I think if he really matures up and gets back to his, first couple of years of the Eagles where he was just going off, he has the team around him to go off. So I think if Carson Wentz is going to come back, this is the year to do it.
Do you think he's going to play better behind what a lot of people see as a better offensive line? Is the offensive line actually that much better anymore, or?
It's got to help. It can't hurt you, right? Going from the Eagles offensive line to the Colts, yeah, it's got to be a big time boost. I would think.
Better playmakers.
Just their running game too is so much better than the Eagles were. So that's going to be taken off him as well.
And a coach that knows what he's doing for an offensive scheme, that's not like week to week something changing, So, and I think Frank Reich has a pretty good idea how to utilize and get every little ounce of juice out of Carson Wentz.
Wasn't it Frank Reich that was the OC for the Eagles when Carson Wentz was having his big year?
I believe so.
When it was
so.
The MVP year for Carson Wentz before he tore his ACL.
Mm-hmm.
I see a little bit of a revival coming in Carson Wentz here. Does that revival translate over to T.Y. Hilton as well?
It might. Yeah, it could.
Or is it going to be the Michael Pittman show? Who do we think is going to be number one here, or do we think that they're going to draft?
Could be Pittman.
One of these
Paris Campbell's coming
awesome
back off injury. So yeah, I don't know.
That's one hard one to say there. They are paying Ty a lot, so they're looking at him still being number one, but he is also getting up there in age. So
yeah, $8 million guaranteed, 1 year deal up to $10 million. So he's going to get targeted. That's for sure. So I'd put my money on Ty being at least a wide receiver 2 for sure. So our Jonathan Taylor owners shaking in their boots with Marlon Mack re-signing.
I would hope not. Man, not after what Jonathan Taylor showed out at the end of the season this last year.
That's true, but what's the Colts' reasoning behind this? I thought they had a great 1-2 punch with Taylor and Nyheim Hines, and then now you're going to bring in a third guy in Mack whose skill set is very similar to what Jonathan Taylor brings to the table.
Well, you got to think about what the years they did before, though. They were running 3 running back systems for the longest time. And with Nyheim Hines, Marlon Mack, and space on his name now, but they had another running back there plugging in when Mack was tired.
I can't even think that far back now.
I can't either.
I know. After a year of quarantine, everything starts to feel like multiple years ago.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you go into any NFL team's not just going to go into a year with only 2 running backs. You know what I mean? Where if you're going to re-sign a third string guy, then you might as well re-sign the one that knows the system and has been there, and just keep him maybe in the rotation occasionally. But I don't know. It doesn't scare me too much for Jonathan Taylor's prospects this upcoming season.
No.
All right.
Jonathan Taylor's still number 1 there.
And I wonder if, he had his Achilles tear pretty early, so I was wondering if Marlon Mack was even going to be ready for the start of the season, but
I think
that was like week 1 or week 2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You would think he'd be back with modern medicine these days. They can take care of just about anything. All right, moving on. We've got Jacksonville Jaguars and signed a couple of offensive guys here that maybe have some sort of fantasy impact. We got Quarterback C.J. Beathard out of San Francisco signed to backup Trevor Lawrence there.
Oh, yeah. CJ.
We're all in agreement there, right? Then they signed, this one will be interesting. They signed running back Carlos Hyde, and then signed 3 wide receivers in Jamal Agnew, and then Philip Dorsett and Marvin Jones. So running back Carlos Hyde going to the Jaguars. Do we think this hurts James Robinson here now? Undrafted free agent guy. Looked stellar over this last year, but I don't know. Brought in that veteran presence. What do we think?
I mean, if you think Jonathan Taylor doesn't have anything to worry about, I would hope that you wouldn't think that James Robinson has anything to worry about with what he did last year. So, yeah, Carlos Hyde, he's very competent backup. He showed it there in Seattle this last year. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he'll come in there and spell them, or he might come in and do like a 60-40 carry, split. So, who knows?
What do you think, Chance? Is Carlos Hyde going to threaten James Robinson at all?
He shouldn't. James, like you were saying, James Robinson had a phenomenal year last year for being, 7th round undrafted rookie. Something like that, late rounds, and went out and had a stellar year. So
undrafted. Undrafted.
Undrafted, that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a great year. I think you got to stick with that. I think Carlos Hyde's just, other than James Robinson, they don't got much for running back. So I think it's just kind of a reinsurance. And then, like Alex said, maybe a 60-40 deal, but James Robinson's still going to be your number one. So
if the Jaguars go with a running back in the top 3 rounds, are we then worried about James Robinson's value?
Yeah, I might be a little bit more worried long-term wise, because there's really Robinson, he has 0 draft capital, so they can cut him and be scot-free of any debt to him. So,
yep, that's the one thing that kind of gives me pause on James Robinson. And I know he had a phenomenal year, but just being undrafted, you see a lot of those guys, it's like, okay, we got lucky in year 1 there. But I mean, you kind of saw it with Philip Lindsay, another undrafted guy, first undrafted guy to go over 1,000 yards in his first 2 seasons in the NFL, and then they still went in and paid Melvin Gordon big contract and ended up getting rid of Philip Lindsay after 1 year of having Melvin Gordon with him. So
just no capital, man. It's hard.
Yep, makes it tough. Marvin Jones. Do we think Marvin Jones is going to supplant Shark, or?
I don't think he'll supplant, but I think he's an excellent signing for the eventual Trevor Lawrence signing, or draft pick there. Big veteran wide receiver that can go up and get those balls when he throws those jump balls. You got DJ Chark out there running the burner routes and
running the
9 all day long. And then Laviska, I think, he's just going to get utilized in a multitude of different ways. So, yeah, Marvin Jones, he'd probably be a fine, wide receiver 3 or flex kind of guy. But, not a bad spot to land.
I like it. All right, we'll move on here. Down to Chance's Tennessee Titans, and oh boy, did they make some offensive signings here. Taking Josh Reynolds, wide receiver from the LA Rams there. Signed Josh Reynolds to a 1-year deal, and then signed 2 tight ends. Re-signed Anthony Ferkser, and then Jeff Swaim. So Josh Reynolds going to have any relevancy here as a Tennessee Titan?
No, I think he's going to have a few good games. Maybe he'll get a few catches, but the Titans are going to run the same offense where it's just Derrick Henry. And then when they got to pass it, why not go to the A.J. Brown? So it's going to be an A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry, and Ryan Tannehill type of season. If that's not your name, you're not fantasy relevant.
Is Anthony Ferkser going to be the new Jonnu Smith there?
No, Ferkser's not anywhere close to what Jonnu Smith was athletic wise. He's a great tight end for a drop down, sit behind the linebackers, and you can't throw it to anyone else, throw it to this guy. But you know what? He did have a few good games.
We did see him have a few good
amazing
games
in the red zone. Mm-hmm. And so he could be a red zone tight end and just vulture some touchdowns and get points that way. But
do you think,
I don't know. You got Derrick Henry and AJ Brown. I don't know why you go away from those two.
Do you think Josh Reynolds picks up where Corey Davis left off, or is he just going to be a non-factor then? Because we did see Corey Davis have some pretty good days, even with AJ Brown and Derrick Henry on the field. Like
I said, I think Josh Reynolds can play that part of Corey Davis where, he's going to have those days where, he gets the yards and the catches and the touchdowns, and people are going to go crazy and think he's the next great thing. And then next week he won't get thrown to. So I think that was Corey Davis the whole time on the Titans. Was he'd have great games where it looks like, oh, this guy's going to break out, and next game he'd get 2 targets, 1 catch for 15 yards. So.
That's just the Titans offense in general, though, because of me, I've had AJ Brown on a number of teams before, and there's been weeks where AJ Brown gets, 10 targets and 8 catches for over 100 yards and a couple of touchdowns. And then there's weeks where he only gets like 2 or 3 throws to him. But luckily he catches one of those for like an 80-yard touchdown and makes your week. So, but who knows? I'm curious to see if the Titans will maybe draft a wide receiver in the draft as well.
That's what I was wondering about. I wonder if that's in their plans to take a wide receiver in the draft and then make Josh Reynolds irrelevant. Who knows? We'll see. Jumping into the AFC West, talking Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, Las Vegas Raiders, and the Los Angeles Chargers. And starting with the Broncos, they signed one offensive player, and that was running back Mike Boone. Old Mike Boone. And then the rest were all defensive guys. Mike Boone going
they said goodbye
to the Broncos.
Your guy.
They let Philip Lindsay go.
Let go, Phil go.
Oh, Lindsay Phillips. Philip Lindsay. Yeah. I don't know. What do we think? Mike Boone, any relevance here?
Maybe.
You think Royce Freeman sees an uptick in usage and Mike Boone becomes kind of just that backup guy, and you think it's more of a Melgo and Mike Boone split?
No, I think it's more of a Gordon.
Melvin Gordon or Royce Freeman is what I meant. Melgo and Royce Freeman or Melgo and Mike Boone?
I think it's going to be Gordon and Boone. I mean, they brought him in with a $2.6 million guaranteed deal that includes 1.6 in signing bonus. So, I mean, they intend to use him. So
you don't say that. I just want it to be Royce, man. I want to
as
believe in Royce
As much
Freeman.
As I want Royce Freeman to be something, I think that ship has sailed, my friend. I mean, unless he gets out of the...
But he's made it this far on his rookie contract. They haven't let him go yet.
Unless he goes somewhere else than Denver, he's not going to get an opportunity.
They let Philip Lindsay go over Royce Freeman.
Well, I mean, I'm all for it, but I think Mike Boone can get some Philip Lindsay looks, which we've seen at times be pretty productive. So
that makes me sad. All right, Kansas City Chiefs, we had not much go on here either. They re-signed Demarcus Robinson, wide receiver there, and Tajay Sharp, and then tight end Blake Bell. And Chance, I think you were talking about how you believed Blake Bell was going to take down Travis Kelce and be the new starting tight end for the Chiefs. Is that what you were saying? Is
that what I said? Huh? I'll have to try to remember that, but no, I don't think that's
Oh, okay. And Tajay Sharp is just going to replace Tyreek here.
That's your boy.
Yeah, your boy Tajay.
Tajay Sharp?
There's not much to talk about here, is there?
No,
We'll move on down.
Outside the two big offensive linemen that they signed, that they let go and then they signed to help with their offensive line. So, like we said, those will. I think that's going to help the running and the passing game some more, and hopefully,
everybody was wondering.
Patty Mahomes up.
Everybody was wondering what they were doing.
I know. They cut their first round offensive lineman that they took a few years ago, and then cut their left tackle and just it looks scary. But it's signed Thuney and Remmers, which not bad guys to sign.
Brought in Kyle Long as well, and Austin Blythe. So their line might actually be okay now. All right, and then the Las Vegas Raiders. This is a little interesting as well. The Las Vegas Raiders signing running back Kenyon Drake, re-signing running back Theo Riddick, and then wide receivers John Brown, Zay Jones, and Willie Snead, and tight end Derek Carrier. So Kenyon Drake to the Raiders. Oh, what happens with Josh Jacobs?
All their owners throw their heads back and cry. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know what 2-year $11 million deal. They're planning on playing him. So I think if you're a Josh Jacobs owner in Dynasty or planning on drafting him, you need to draft him a little later rounds because I don't know what they plan on doing with these two.
Yeah.
Very similar offensive styles, so
it only hurt value for both, right?
I mean,
it hurts Kenyon Drake's value and it hurts Josh Jacobs' value.
Yeah.
I mean, might be good for the Raiders, but
it's a good football move. It's just, sucks for both managers and fantasy. Yeah, terrible. And I've read some stuff that said Kenyon Drake has been told that he will be utilized kind of like a jack of all trades kind of position. So they're going to move him out into the slot, maybe even out wide sometimes. But man, if you're a Josh Jacobs owner, I don't think his value's been as low ever before now with Kenyon Drake there.
Yeah, so if you're still a Josh Jacobs believer, now's the time to strike.
Oof, I get,
but don't,
no kidding.
But don't overpay.
Yeah, no joke.
John Brown going here. What do we think about John Brown?
Yeah. I mean,
is he just going to fill the Nelson Aguilar role, or
he might?
Are we going to see Henry Ruggs take a step up?
I think he's just the veteran presence there to help with with Ruggs and with Brian. Why am I blanking on his name right now?
Braylon Edwards.
Brian Edwards. Brian Edwards, not Braylon Edwards. Brian Edwards.
I don't know.
Braylon Edwards. I was Cleveland Brown guy back in the day.
Yep.
Going way back.
Yeah.
Way back. Brian Edwards. So I think the Raiders, what I'm hoping the Raiders' thought process was they were comfortable moving on with Aguilar. They're going to move Ruggs into the slot more and hopefully get him some more looks. And then hopefully Brian Edwards is healthy enough to be able to get him utilized and actually playing more and more targets. And remember everything Derek Carr was saying preseason last year that, he played with Devontae Adams in college and he reminded him a lot of him, just the way that.
Oh yeah. The hype train on Brian Edwards before the season was unreal.
It was wild. I will say that, but I will also say with that the organization, all that I've read, they fully believe that he can be something like that. So like he has just as much chance to be the 1A there as Henry Ruggs. So just depends on who can stay healthy.
Well, I traded the 108 for Henry Ruggs and a 2022 first in the Dynasty League to Kyle. So I'm hoping Henry Ruggs takes that step up and John Brown isn't the main guy there. All right, and down with the Los Angeles Chargers. Not much here. Quarterback Chase Daniel agreed to terms to back up what's his face? Why am I blanking?
Justin Herbert.
Thank you very much. This is why we have Chance here now. Justin Herbert, and then signed tight end Jared Cook. Jared Cook is not dead yet.
He's still here.
And Hunter Henry's gone. Is Jared Cook fantasy relevant this year?
I think he'll have a little bit. I mean, he'll have a couple of good games, I think.
Yeah.
2 or 3. And then depending if somebody gets hurt.
I think he'll be this. Go ahead, Alex.
I was going to say, just depending on if someone, like Mike Williams, we love that guy, and he has all the talent in the world and the physical attributes, but he
falls from a tree every time he catches the ball.
He falls like a sack of rocks, and it just comes crashing to the earth, and it just leaves a dent in the field every time, and it also, unfortunately, leaves a dent in his body, and it sucks. So, I mean, if we're going off history, when one of those guys, either Allen or Williams gets hurt, then Jared Cook could suck up a lot of targets for sure.
Justin Herbert going to be good friends with him?
Good friends with him?
Yeah. Is he going to be good friends with him, Chance?
Are they going to be cooking buddies?
I think he'll throw him the ball. I don't know if they'll be friends or not. But
I want you to take the deep dive.
I think Jared Cook's they lost Hunter Henry, so they need that tight end presence, and he's been around the game in a while, so he might have the same steps he used to when he was younger, but I think he's a solid tight end that he'll get his looks. So I think it's a good signing for him. Is he a solid tight end all weeks? No, but I mean, there's going to be weeks where he's a good plug and play.
I also think the Chargers could be in line for a wide receiver in this draft. And I have heard, it's a little early in the segment here, but some rumor mills that possibly one of these top guys could be there, like a Waddle or maybe even a Bateman possibly. So, so you never know.
That'd be interesting. There was some Donald Parham hype for a little while when Hunter Henry left, but I think that's officially dead.
That's shot down now with Jared Cook.
All right, moving into the NFC now.
That seventh round rookie tight end.
Woo! We're going into the NFC East. We've got the Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants.
Just before we go there, the two kind of lesser wide receivers from last year on the Chargers, do you think they get wiped out if they draft another wide receiver, as in Tyron Johnson, and then who's the other guy? It wasn't Waddle. It was something like that, though.
Yeah, and if they draft one of those top guys, then I think they're basically
done.
Irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
Guyton or something like that, wasn't it?
Guyton.
It wasn't Waddle. It was something close. Guyton. Yeah, that's it.
Guyton and Waddle. That sounds alike.
I tell you what. I mean, both those guys had decent games, though. I mean, when they had
and Keenan Allen and Mike Williams were both hurting, and
Johnson
they were still
Guyton
letting
both.
Justin Herbert just send it. I mean,
how much better is Justin Herbert going to be now that head coach is out of there?
I don't remember who they hired as their head coach, but do you think he's going to be better, or do you think? I mean, they did. I guess there was that time where he did tell him to not throw to Keenan Allen as much.
Yeah, you can't keep throwing to Keenan Allen all the time. It's
what are you talking about?
What?
Yes, I can.
Don't tell. He's catching the ball
because it works.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know. If I'm the head coach there, I say keep throwing to Keenan Allen. Yeah,
mm-hmm. Throw him as much as you want.
I don't know, but NFC East, talking Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, and the football team, and starting with the Cowboys. Only real offensive player that was signed here was Dak Prescott, making that money, getting a 4-year, $160 million contract that has a max value of $164 million, $126 million guaranteed. Dak Prescott raises the level of everybody on that team.
Oh, yeah. Everybody wins on that one.
That's what I say.
Yep.
I mean, is there anything else we need to dive in on them here?
No.
Any additions we need to make? Okay.
Yeah, it's a plus for everybody.
We'll move on down.
Kind of sad I traded him away in Dynasty.
Well, you should be. What about Michael Gallup? I mean, he wasn't doing much when Dak was there at the beginning of the year. Do you think Gallup just maintains a step down, because he saw a little bit of an uptick with Andy Dalton, but
I don't know. I think it's going to be hard to
the one big game against the Seahawks with
super
Dak
fluky
in there.
It's going to be tough to gauge. I mean, there's so many other weapons there, so
they need to let Gallup go to another team.
Probably.
All right, the Giants. Ooh, the Giants signed Mike Glennon.
Oh man, that's a big time signing.
Rock star Mike Glennon to go back up Daniel Jones. Signed running back Devontae Booker, who had a little bit of relevancy with the Raiders last year, and then wide receiver John Ross. And, the big one, wide receiver, Kenny Gallaudet.
I was going to say you skipped one there.
Going to the Giants. Also, Kyle Rudolph, tight end from Minnesota, signed with the Giants. And there's a little bit to dissect here. So, Chance, what are you feeling about Kenny Gallaudet being with the Giants here?
It's hard to say. I think it's one of those where Daniel Jones needs to improve significantly. Or Kenny Galladay's that down the field wide receiver, you throw it up to him, and that 50-50 ball, and he comes down with it because he's not getting the separation. But they're going to find ways to use him. I think he's still going to be a top wide receiver that you have to play. Daniel Jones or not, that they're going to be trying to throw the ball to him. They have to.
Value added or taken away from going from the Lions to the Giants?
Taken away. He doesn't have Matthew Stafford just throwing bombs for him anymore. It's Daniel Jones who likes to throw it short. So I think Kenny Gallaudet, I think he takes a step back. I don't know if he hits 1,000 yards this year, to be honest.
And Alex, you thought Kenny Gallaudet was the next coming of Jesus.
What are you saying now?
No,
did not think any of that.
No? Okay.
I think Kenny Gallaudet, I think he takes a slight step back, but what he might lose in yardage and touchdowns, I think he'll gain in receptions because, you got Darius Slayton there, still have Sterling Shepard.
Added John Ross.
Oh, John Ross. Yeah, I forgot about him. John Ross, I think he's just going to get hyper targeted out there. You still have Evans there, the tight end.
Evan Ingram.
Yeah, Evan Ingram, not Evans. Evan Ingram, sorry. It's been a bit. Evan Ingram is still available there as well, but I think, he's going to be the main wide receiver. He has to be the main wide receiver target. So I think him and Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, they're going to get acquainted real good.
Yeah, with a contract like that, you better be throwing Kenny Gallaudet the ball early and often.
Well, and how often he comes down with it in those 50-50 balls. I don't know how you just don't throw it his way almost every time.
I think about every second or third throw is going to be that way. So, for $40 million guaranteed, it better be.
And Kyle Rudolph brought in just to block to help that O-line. Is that what we're thinking on Kyle Rudolph here?
Yeah, not interested.
I actually heard him on the interview, and he was told that he's going to be in more of a blocking role.
All right.
And he wasn't super excited about it. He's like, hey, I'm a pass catcher, but
sure.
He knows he's getting up there in age. So.
Yeah. Says, I guess.
Gotta take what you can get.
How much are you paying me?
And a
$12 million?
Exactly. 2-year, $12 million deal to
4.5 signing bonus? Okay, I'll do it.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
All right. Moving on down, we've got the Philadelphia Eagles with the big signing of Joe Flacco to go push Jalen Hurts there. Nothing to talk about fantasy-wise there other than...
We might talk about him a little later, though.
Other than the impact, yes, of trading Carson Wentz and having Jalen Hurts as the starting quarterback there for now. And the Washington football team brought on quarterback Ryan Fitzmagic, old Fitzpatrick, going to yet another team.
Bearded wonder, he still lives.
Brought in running back Lamar Miller, who was pretty much nowhere to be found all last season. And then wide receivers, DeAndre Carter, Adam Humphries, and Curtis Samuel coming in to Washington. Curtis Samuel reuniting with Ron Rivera. What are we thinking? Ryan Fitzmagic, fantasy impact on Terry McLaurin.
I think
Curtis Samuel here. What's going on?
Yeah, I think it bumps everybody up. I mean, compared to last year, Dwayne Haskins and Alex Smith, like this is.
Don't you dare forget Taylor Heineke.
Heineke,
who's going to be competing for the starting job here.
No, I mean, I think, I think Fitzmagic raises the level of everyone's fantasy floors, and it's going to be awesome because Fitzpatrick has that don't care attitude, and he's going to let it rip. And I think Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel, Antonio Gibson, all those guys, Logan Thomas, they're all going to benefit from that. So it's going to be awesome to see.
Oh, yeah. With Ron Rivera, Curtis Samuel is kind of used as more of a downfield threat, whereas typically his game has kind of been more of the gadget guy, kind of underneath, playing out of the slot, sometimes out of the backfield. Chance, is he going to be a downfield guy? Is he going to be gadget guy? What would you look forward to more with Curtis Samuel this next year?
I really hope they kind of keep him to the gadget guy. Antonio Gibson was almost kind of used as that, but Curtis Samuel, he's just so athletic. I think he can do anything and be the gadget guy or go downfield and still be relevant fantasy-wise. I love to see him on the gadget guy, though. I think I don't know how you don't use him there. He's just a threat everywhere on the field, so might as well use him everywhere on the field.
If he's the gadget guy like he was in Carolina this last year, how bad does that hurt for Gibson owners, you think?
I don't know. It just depends how Gibson does as a natural running back, where he's not getting those looks on the passing game as much as he used to. So I think he takes a hit, but maybe he'll develop more as a running back. He's still young and still can do it. He showed he can still run the ball very well last year as a rookie. So I think he'll do fine. I think he'll take a hit passing wise, but running wise, he'll still be a great running back.
And they still got J.D. McKissick there. So
J.D. McKissick,
who showed he was competent when given the role. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, that's. I think they made some pretty good signings this offseason so far.
I like this.
Football team on the rise.
Football team.
All right, NFC North. Talking Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers, and the Minnesota Vikings. And starting with the Chicago Bears, whole lot of rumors going around about trading for quarterbacks and stuff there, but ultimately they ended up signing Andy Dalton to a 1-year, $10 million contract. They then signed running back Damian Williams to a 1-year deal, and Allen Robinson received the franchise tag, and he signed it. So Allen Robinson expected to be back for at least one more year with the Bears here. Andy Dalton and Nick Foles battling it out to see who starts there. What are we thinking here?
Well, it's going to be Dalton. I mean, I don't think there's a battle. It's going to be Dalton. They just gave him a $10 million contract, so it's going to be him. Unless he just comes out there and wets the bed, I think it's going to be Dalton.
Right on. And Damian Williams coming to the Bears here. Is this going to hurt David Montgomery's fantasy value?
I think David Montgomery played well enough last year where he showed he can be a solid running back to rely on. I think it's just one of those from where I was hearing that David Montgomery, struggled there for a few games beginning of the year. Kind of took a while to get going, so it might just be another kick in the pants to make sure you actually do your job and get those points. Right. So I think it still should be David Montgomery, running back 1 for the Bears.
Tariq Cohen should be back as well, I believe, coming off that injury that he suffered. David Montgomery, you still buying the running back 1 status that he ended the season on? what was he, running back 4 or whatever he ended up?
Yeah.
At the end of the year.
I don't know if I'm as hyped on it as I was, especially now with Cohen back as well. One of the big things that Montgomery benefited from last year was Cohen went out so early and he was racking up all those receiving, opportunities as well. So he's with Cohen back now, he might not get as many of those. And then, Damian Williams, he does, pretty much everything that David Montgomery does, as a spell back. And if, like Chance was saying, if Montgomery starts to show a little bit of rust or show that he's having some difficulties, Damian Williams could be subbed in, and we've seen him perform pretty well before. So
should have been a Super Bowl MVP, really.
Seriously, no joke.
And Allen Robinson.
We know who he is. It doesn't matter who the QB is. He's going to be who he's going to be.
Is Andy Dalton a step up from any of the QBs he's had? Maybe.
I think so.
Goodness. All right, moving into the Detroit Lions. Traded for Jared Goff with the Los Angeles Rams. In turn, sent Matthew Stafford over that way. Signed quarterback Tim Boyle to back up whoever there. Likely Jared Goff right now. Then they signed running back Jamal Williams, interesting, and 2 wide receivers in Brashad Perriman and Tyrell Williams, and tight end Josh Hill. So Detroit Lions bringing Jared Goff over. I don't know. Is Jared Goff just done?
I don't think he's done, but it's definitely not as good as an opportunity as it was in LA with the Rams. So,
yep. No Kenny Gallaudet to work with now. No Marvin Jones either. No.
No. I think you can safely bet that the Lions are going to draft a wide receiver at some point. So, they do have Perriman and Tyrell Williams there, but I think it's a pretty safe bet that they'll get 1 or 2 wide receivers in the draft.
Yeah, yep. And don't forget Cephas, Quintez Cephas.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget that guy.
Deandre Swift. Does his value take a hit here with the signing of Jamal Williams? We've seen Jamal perform very well with the Packers before. Is he going to eat into Swift's workload any more than Adrian Peterson or Kerryon Johnson did?
It's hard to say. DeAndre Swift with the injuries last year, this just could be another. Let's see how he plays. Hopefully he stays healthy. I think DeAndre Swift, when he was healthy, was a great running back that just should be starting every time, but it's just whether he stays healthy or not. So Jamal Williams, I think he'll take that backup role and DeAndre Swift be number 1, but if anything happens to him, they got a more than capable running back in Jamal Williams.
Kerryon just needs to carry on.
Yeah, I think Kerryon's just going to carry on everyone's luggage onto the planes and stuff.
Right. And
all right, that was bad.
Gross. Hawkinson. TJ Hawkinson's going to eat. I think we can all say that.
We can safely assume that.
Might actually just be the number 1 wide receiver there.
That's very true.
Or the number 1 receiving option.
I can see it.
Yeah. So TJ Hawkinson, I think, will be all right. Everybody else there, I think value goes down slightly. That's my thoughts. Going to the Green Bay Packers, re-signed to a lot of people's surprise, running back Aaron Jones on a big 4-year contract for $48 million. And then re-signed tight end Mercedes Lewis, which is irrelevant. But Aaron Jones going to be back with the Packers. No Jamal Williams there now. Do we actually see Aaron Jones have an uptick in fantasy production since there's no Jamal Williams now, or do we think A.J. Dillon's gonna eat into his workload a bit?
That's a good question.
A.J. Dillon's game doesn't necessarily match very well with what Jamal Williams was doing. He's not really that third down pass catching back.
No, I think they're just. I think I don't really know actually what the Packers were thinking doing that, because I 100% thought it was going to be Aaron Jones was going to be on his way out, and then it was going to be Jamal Williams gets re-signed and he keeps his role, and then Dylan steps into the lead back role from what we saw towards the end of the season. But
yeah,
I'm not really sure what the Packers are doing. So
frankly, the Packers wasted their first 2 picks in the 2020 draft on backup players.
Yeah, no joke.
I mean, I don't know. You think Aaron Jones is gonna see an uptick there, Chance?
It's hard to say, because AJ Dillon definitely proved he can play the running back and do it well. So I think Aaron Jones will lose some touchdowns to AJ Dillon. AJ Dillon has that power to hit some stuff in, so he might lose some stuff around the red zone. But pass catching wise, I think Aaron Jones will take an uptick on things, because he is a better pass catching back than AJ Dillon is.
I'm kind of in agreement with that there. I do worry about probably some of the red zone looks going more towards AJ Dillon.
Could very well.
In that, while Aaron Jones plays a little bit more between the 20s. All right, now the Minnesota Vikings, not much here. Had Amir Abdullah re-signed for a 1-year deal, and Chad Beebe re-signed.
Yeah, not
with
a lot
the Vikings.
Not a lot to chat about on this one.
They re-signed Dalvin Cook before the season was even done. So that was that was like right when the season started, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Moving on.
Moving into the NFC South, we've got the Atlanta Falcons, Carolina Panthers, New Orleans Saints, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the Falcons signed running back Mike Davis from Carolina, from Carolina there, and tight end Lee Smith that was acquired in a trade with the Buffalo Bills. So Lee Smith.
Oh, yeah, Lee.
Yeah. Mike Davis.
Lee.
We're talking about Lee.
Depending on what happens in the draft, we could see Mike Davis be the lead back here in Atlanta. And do you think the Falcons dip into the running back pool in this draft here, Chance? Or are you wanting Mike Davis as the number 1 back here?
I think they get a running back in this upcoming draft. I like Mike Davis. I think he'd be a solid running back, but from what I'm hearing is they're drafting a running back in this upcoming draft. So
not a guy that you rely on fully going into the
no,
season.
He's a good plug-in guy, but he hasn't showed that starter potential yet.
Mike Davis did pretty well filling in for Christian McCaffrey there.
I was going to say, he looked pretty good. I mean, at times, I think he did get tired towards the end when McCaffrey was getting close to coming back. But, I mean, yeah, we'll see. I think the Falcons do sign a rookie running back as well. I just don't know how high of capital pick they'll spend on a running back. But Mike Davis is totally capable of taking the lead back job for a year or two until they find exactly who they want for a running back. So for the future, the long term. But yeah, I mean, shoot, I like Mike Davis landing there. I mean, it's a good little offense to land in for sure. They're going to be having to score points.
Yeah, not a bad spot if you've got Mike Davis in a dynasty league, and just hope that if they do take a running back, maybe they take a late one and let Mike Davis do the main share of the carries. We'll see what happens, but no, I like that's a good landing spot for Mike Davis. Carolina Panthers signed Seattle wide receiver David Moore and tight end Dan Arnold out of Arizona, the mailman, Dan Arnold. Any relevance here? The Panthers don't have Curtis Samuel anymore. They got DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson there. Do we see David Moore any sort of relevance here, or just kind of if somebody gets hurt?
I think if somebody gets hurt, he can be relevant, but for now it's just going to be kind of third string wide receiver,
Yeah.
We'll see if he makes it on the field or not.
Also behind Christian McCaffrey there. So
yeah.
as far as the reception list goes.
Got to remember that. So, but I would not be surprised if the Panthers look at wide receiver as well in the draft. So,
and Dan Arnold had a couple of good games there towards the end of the season with the Cardinals. Is Dan Arnold your tight end 3 chance going into this season?
Tight end 3. It's hard to say. Probably not. I think he'll be a good tight end. I think he'll have a few good games, but I think outside of Curtis Samuel, Robbie Anderson, and DJ, I don't think there's going to be a lot of other targets anywhere else.
Right on. We will move on then to the New Orleans Saints, and they re-signed Jameis Winston, quarterback Jameis Winston, along with re-signing Taysom Hill during the season, and then they re-signed running back Ty Montgomery here. Also, fullback Alex Arma and tight end Nick Vannett. So I think the biggest question marks here are Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill. Who's it going to be? What are our thoughts?
Man, I don't.
All right, on 3, both of you tell me who is going to be the starting quarterback for the Saints. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
Taysom.
Winston.
And that's exactly what everybody keeps thinking. I hear Taysom from one person, Winston from another person. Fantasy value-wise for your studs, Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. If it's Taysom Hill, how are we feeling?
I think Thomas doesn't have much of a change. He's still going to get hyper-targeted. And then Kamara obviously would take a hit because if Taysom's not liking what he's seeing, then he's more liable to tuck it and run it rather than dump it off and look for Kamara. Now, we did see the first couple games that Taysom did start, Kamara was hit pretty hard with that. Taysom was tucking it down and keeping it himself, but then we kind of saw a correction to that a couple games as well, where Taysom found Kamara out of the backfield or on the flats, and Kamara started to reap the benefits from that. Now, I think ultimately, I think Kamara could thrive with Taysom, but I think the ceiling is higher with Jameis just because Jameis isn't more likely to run it. And I would hope that taking a year or two from watching Drew Brees would help him learn that he can't have the don't care attitude and chucking it up there all the time, because that's how you rack up 30 interceptions with your 30 touchdowns. So
Mr. 30 for 30.
Mr. Dirty 30 there. Yeah, 30-30. So, I think with Taysom, Michael Thomas doesn't really hurt him too bad. Kamara, it's going to hurt him a little bit more. And with Jameis, I think it's better fantasy-wise, but I think football-wise, it makes more sense for Taysom, honestly.
Think so. Chance?
Yeah, I just think Jameis, just watching him from a couple of games last year, he looks like he's not just throwing it up anymore. Hopefully it'll be a touchdown or interception. But so I think his decision making is better. So I think, of course, Michael Thomas is just always going to get the looks he gets, and then Alvin Kamara will benefit from it being Jameis rather than Taysom. Like Alex is saying, Taysom's looking to run the ball if he can't find anyone, so he's not going to be checking down as much. So I think Jameis will help out Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas. So I think Jameis Winston is a better quarterback, especially after watching Drew Brees. I think he learned from the 30-30 and then getting cut by the Buccaneers or not getting re-signed with them. So I think he'll be a better quarterback, have better decision-making. I think he'll win out the job.
Ooh, lots of fun to be had in New Orleans. Sean Payton's adopted son, Taysom Hill, regardless of what he does, he's going to break fantasy players' hearts, I believe. Whether he's the starting quarterback or he's just that gadget Swiss Army knife guy that goes in and takes the touchdown record away from Alvin Kamara. Who knows? All right. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. First.
Did you call him a Swiss cheese knife?
Swiss Army knife.
Swiss cheese.
He's a Swiss cheese knife.
Either way, I mean, that works as well. He's poking holes in everything that fantasy players want to have happen. So
Just out there poking holes, hole poking.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, first team since like 1978 or something like that to return all 22 starters from their Super Bowl winning roster. So they re-signed Leonard Fournette, they franchise tagged Chris Godwin, and they re-signed Rob Gronkowski. We're just going to see more of the same from the Buccaneers this year.
I think so, honestly. I don't think anything changes. You're going to have a Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones hot hand approach. Or I guess we'll see. Arians seems to be trying to prop up Keyshawn Vaughn a little bit, and who knows if that's just smoke screens or what, but
a lot of what Bruce Arians says is smoke screens.
Seriously, that's what you got to be careful with. So, and then with the wide receivers, same deal. You're just going to see kind of the same show, different day. And I think the big question is going to be with OJ Howard coming back, what's Gronk's value going to be? I think Gronk will still have some value, but in the beginning there, OJ and Tom Brady actually had a pretty good little connection going before he got hurt. So does OJ come in and just takes over right then and there? Does that hurt some of Godwin's inside, receptions? What do you think, Chance?
I don't think you can break that Brady Gronkowski rapport they have. So I don't think Gronkowski's going to be taking much of a hit on here. Godwin inside, though, with having those two tight ends, I think could be taking maybe a little bit of a hit. But with Chris Godwin, how good he is, it's hard to say. I wouldn't want to take receptions away from Godwin. So
did playoff Lenny do enough to be the number one running back there?
I think I agree with Alex. I think it's going to be a hot hand thing. They have such a good defense. I think most of their offense is going to be hot hand. Who's playing well? All right, we're going to keep throwing it to him, or we're going to keep giving him the ball.
Right on. Yep. I'm thinking more of the same. And if OJ Howard does take more, I think it's going to be probably by design to maybe just give Gronk limited snaps until it gets closer to that end of the season run that they need, which may have been part of what was going on there as well this last year. But
what if Tampa Bay just all of a sudden late playoff, halfway through the year, they just throw in the Gronkowski, Aaron Hernandez little combination with Gronk
style
and OJ Howard, and all of a sudden you're trying to pay attention to these wide receivers, and then all of a sudden just whoa.
Yeah, I don't know. They're going to be dangerous yet again unless Tom Brady finally falls off that age cliff, but I don't know that that's coming this year. It seems like it never will.
No joke.
All right.
Life forever.
Forever. Moving into the NFC West, we've got the Arizona Cardinals, the Los Angeles Rams, San Francisco 49ers, and Seattle Seahawks. And the Cardinals doing a little bit here in free agency, signed quarterback Colt McCoy to go be the backup there, and then signed wide receiver A.J. Green out of Cincinnati, and tight end Darrell Daniels signed there. So I think the biggest question mark out of these guys is A.J. Green, and are we going to see a bounce back, or are we going to see more of the kind of the Larry Fitzgerald just possession guy, the old reliable, and emphasis on old? What do you think, Chance?
You know what? I think he's going to take more of the Larry Fitzgerald role, where he's just going to be just another option that's going to take some looks away from DeAndre. But I could be wrong. AJ could have a breakout year, be on the other side of DeAndre. Everyone's paying attention to DeAndre, so he could have some amazing games where he just puts up the points.
Right on. AJ Green gonna have any big fantasy relevance here, or just relegated to more being that possession security blanket?
Phillip Rivers wide receiver version. So I think he's done, man. He's done.
You're calling AJ Green horse glue?
He's horse glue, man. Horse glue in a sense that we're not going to see what we were used to seeing with AJ Green anymore, I don't think. He might have one or two great games, but it's not going to be anything like the dominant wide receiver one that we saw. So
it makes me sad. Moving on.
Do you remember the last good game that we saw AJ Green have? It was like 2 or 3 years ago. We were sitting watching the game and he reeled in 3 touchdown passes within the first half.
Yeah.
I think you went and traded for him from me the very next day or something like that.
Well, yeah, it was something. It was that next off season.
Something like that.
That was before he got hurt. And then, yeah. Who knows? But the Los Angeles Rams, they made some moves. So I do know that.
Yeah, they made a couple.
They traded for quarterback Matthew Stafford from the Detroit Lions and signed wide receiver Deshaun Jackson. So Matthew Stafford coming in, going to be the starter there for the Los Angeles Rams. And does everybody just get an uptick now with them moving on from Jared Goff, getting a guy like Matthew Stafford in there? What do we think? Who's gonna see the big increase in fantasy value here, Alex?
Well, I think everybody does. I mean, honestly, the tier level going from Goff to Stafford, Stafford is in no means, an elite quarterback, but I think the difference that you're going to see between the two in the LA Rams offense is going to look elite. I mean, it's going to be drastic, the difference. I mean, yeah, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, all those guys are going to be wheels up. Tyler Higbee, the Beast.
Ooh. Yeah, we saw how, Gerald Everett moved on.
Yeah, he moved on, so now it's just going to be the Higbee show. And then Cam Akers, I think defenses are going to have to respect Stafford, and that's only going to open up the box even more for Cam Akers. So I think on all levels it's going to benefit.
Right on. Chance, who's going to be the wide receiver to target early in drafts there?
Ooh. I think you gotta go Cooper Kupp, man. I think Cooper Kupp's just been that reliable guy that you can count on all the time. I'm going with Cooper Kupp. I love Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, but Kupp can go everyone on the field. Woods is more of an outside guy that's going to take those outside routes, and I think it's got to be Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp for Chance. Alex, which one you drafting earlier in drafts?
Man, I don't know. I'm trying to think of who would be like going from the Lions to the Rams. So like who's the Kenny G in the Rams offense? Who would you say is Kenny G?
They don't really have
I don't think anyone's Kenny G
right now.
Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods are like, same style of flavor. I mean, they're just on opposite sides of the field.
They each remind me more of Marvin Jones, if anything, if you had to compare them to somebody that Stafford played with.
Exactly.
They each kind of remind me more of Marvin Jones. So
could Kenny G
what's your
be
gut feeling telling you, Alex?
What's my gut feeling say? I like Robert Woods a lot. I think Cooper Kupp and Jared Goff had a kind of a special little connection there. They knew where each other, one person was going to be on the field at any time. So that might be a little, in the beginning, might be a little more slow going to pick up. And I think Robert Woods, I mean, he's a veteran. We've seen him do it on different teams. So
yeah, my initial thought is to go Robert Woods, but it's really close between Woods and Kupp there. And McVay's going to find ways to scheme them both open regardless, and they both have a better quarterback throwing to them. Deshaun Jackson.
You think that's the Kenny Gallaudet kind of try to mimic right there? Or
Deshaun Jackson's going to be go run your 9, and if
that's
you're
what Kenny G did a lot of the time was running deep.
Yeah, but Kenny G can go up and grab it. Deshaun just had it.
I don't think Deshaun's not the 50-50 guy like Kenny G was. Deshaun can get the separation that Kenny G couldn't, though. So,
they do still have the rookie they drafted last year, Van Jefferson.
He
could be.
Who's another Cooper Kupp style player.
They have a certain receiver they like.
They do indeed. But McVay will find ways to scheme people open, and everybody's going to receive a fantasy boost there, I believe, with Matthew Stafford at quarterback. Moving to the San Francisco 49ers, we've got fullback Kyle Juszczyk.
Oh, the juice.
Woo!
The use.
5-year contract with the 49ers. You go, fullback. That's nice. And then Mohamed Sanu and Trent Sherfield, wide receivers, each signed there.
Not a lot.
No,
their big move is what they did for their picks. So
yeah. Kyle Juszczyk is good for the running game, so good to see that they kept him around. But he can also give you a swift kick to the nethers by taking some of those goal line touchdowns.
Hate those swift kicks.
Right to the nethers. And then we've got Alex's Seattle Seahawks. Not doing a whole lot in free agency here other than re-signing running back Chris Carson and then signing tight end Gerald Everett from the Los Angeles Rams.
Typical Seahawks offseason. So.
And they signed a whole bunch of offensive linemen that are not really worth the whole lot. So,
like you said, typical Seattle Seahawks offseason.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So I think it was a big get though to get Chris Carson back, a guy that they've believed in the past and knows the system already. I know there were a lot of free agent running backs out there, but it was worth the investment just to keep Carson. He's a hard-hitting running back that they like that style. Just as long as he can stay healthy and hang on to the ball, they'll benefit from that quite a bit. And then Gerald Everett, he's definitely a move tight end, not really the blocking type. It's just going to depend on, does that mean they're moving on from Disley, or is that Will Disley insurance? Because we saw Will Disley, what was it, 2 years ago now, a year ago? Where he just kind of took off right in the beginning of the season.
Before one of his major injuries.
Yeah, he had first 3 games of the year, he had a touchdown and 100 yards each game. It was nuts.
Yeah.
So, like I said, typical Seahawks offseason. They're not going to do a whole lot. No huge splash signings. I have heard rumors that they may be interested in a wide receiver free agent, and the rumor that I've been hearing is possibly Antonio Brown. If Antonio doesn't re-sign with the Buccaneers, they were really interested in him last year. They brought him in to have a look at him, and then Russ has done some off-season work with him. So wouldn't be a bad idea to revitalize the wide receiving corps. I mean, you got DK and Lockett. Outside of that, you don't got anything really.
No, not even David Moore anymore.
Jeff Swaim.
Jeff Swaim's gone.
Oh, no, it's another Swaim.
That's right. It's the other Swaim.
It's another Swaim.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's another Swaim that's there.
It's another Swaim
rookie last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Carson owners in fantasy and dynasty formats or keeper formats, Chance, is this the best landing spot that Chris Carson could have had?
What was that?
So Chris Carson owners, whether it was like dynasty or keeper formats, is this the best landing spot that Chris Carson could have had? Just going back to Seattle.
I think so, because he knows the offense. When he's healthy, he does phenomenal at Seattle. So I think this is definitely the best spot for him.
Yeah,
especially with Rashad Penny, he was supposedly taking carries away from him. Didn't do that really. I mean, he showed some glimpses, but never really took that role on. So I think this was the best spot for Chris Carson. I think as he stays healthy, he's the main guy.
I was excited as a Chris Carson owner to hear that he went back to Seattle.
Would have been awesome to see him in Green Bay. I mean, imagine Chris Carson
if Aaron
in Green
Jones
Bay.
hadn't gone back and then gone to Green Bay. But
that would have been awesome.
But they, as we discussed, have A.J. Dillon there, so I don't think that would have been happening. But you never know. It would have been interesting to see something like that. All right. Well, that does it. We've gotten through all the teams, their major offensive free agency signings and all that good stuff. So thank you guys much for the input there. Tried to deliver our thoughts on what would be happening and how to evaluate some of these guys going into the next season. We're going to take just a real quick break here, and then we're going to jump into a quick little rumor mill segment and just get you guys out of here for the day.
Sounds good.
And we're back for the rumor mill. There's been a whole lot of stuff swirling in the NFL atmosphere this offseason between quarterbacks demanding trades, quarterbacks being accused of certain acts.
Oh, yeah.
Teams being interested in quarterbacks, and what was to be an insane NFL running back class for free agency turned out to be nothing but smoke and mirrors.
Real anticlimactic.
So what do we got first up on the rumor mill there, Alex? What's to be discussed today?
Well, let's discuss this big time trade that happened, by the way. We saw the NFL look like fantasy football for a hot second.
This isn't rumor mill, this was madness.
This is 100% factual. So the Miami Dolphins were making moves.
Major moves.
So they were originally sitting at the number 3 overall pick.
Thanks to the Houston Texans.
Texans making great moves per usual. So they were sitting at the number 3 overall pick, and they made a trade with the San Francisco 49ers. So in exchange for the number 3 overall pick, the San Francisco 49ers sent to the Dolphins the number 12 overall pick, and then the 49ers first and third round selections in 2022 and their first round pick in 2023. Well, about 10 to 15 minutes later, we saw that the Dolphins and the Philadelphia Eagles had agreed to a trade, and the Dolphins then flipped the number 12 overall pick and the number 123, which that would be a third round pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
To the Philadelphia Eagles, along with their own 2022 first, in exchange for the number 6 overall pick and the number 156 selection, which essentially is a third round pick as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, all in all, once the dust was settled, Miami ends up with the number 6 overall pick for this year, the number 156 overall pick this year, a 2022 first from San Francisco, a 2022 third from San Francisco, and a 2023 first from San Francisco. San Francisco ends up with the number 3 overall pick, and then the Eagles end up with the number 12 overall pick, number 123 overall pick in this year's draft, and then a 2022 first from Miami. So essentially, Miami traded back from 3 to 6 and gained a first round pick in the process.
Yeah, they
first and a third, actually.
They made out pretty nice. Everybody said the Dolphins playing chess while everybody's playing checkers. Meanwhile, I just thought this is like the early days of our dynasty league.
Yeah, no kidding. Here, people trading picks willy-nilly.
So
Ben.
Yeah, Ben, Kyle, all you guys out there.
Yep.
Jared's just over here, Miami Dolphin in it, reaping the benefits.
Yeah, he got last this year. He can Miami Dolphin.
By design.
He can Miami Dolphin all he wants.
So I guess the big rumor mill is, who did San Francisco feel so inclined to give all that capital up to move up to number 3 to take? And I'll tell you, the one rumor I've been hearing the most is somebody that's probably not really expected to go at number 3, but Mac Jones, Alabama quarterback, which is pretty dang surprising. Yeah. You made a motion that we will not
discuss that.
Describe.
It's okay.
But so what are you guys' thoughts on that? Who do you think?
If their plan is to take Mac Jones out there, I don't know what their thought process is.
Yeah,
I know they're not. I know they're not totally in on Jimmy G, even though they said it earlier that he's our starting. But then they make these news that, hey, we're looking at somewhere else to trade him. So I don't think Mac Jones is the answer, though. So if they draft him there, I don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah, that's so much to give up for a guy that potentially could have fallen to the 12th pick.
Well, and a guy with the play style that they already have, like Mac Jones is Jimmy G pretty much. So
really,
So who do you guys think that they will ultimately take then?
Smoke and mirrors. They
want Mac Jones, because the whole big rumor that it's Mac Jones was because John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan were at Mac Jones's pro day.
Meanwhile, an assistant general manager went off to Justin Fields.
Yes, pro day.
So I think it's smoke and mirrors. I think they're really trying to throw people off the scent and make people think, okay, we want Mac Jones, and then try to have teams that, might try to get aggressive and trade up with the Jets to number 2 that would take Justin Fields there. You know what I mean? So they're trying to say, no, we're taking Mac Jones. Justin Fields will still be available, or, so that nobody jumps them.
Yeah, with the Jets are apparently have their sights set on Zach Wilson. Or do you think that's smoke as well?
That's the big thing, is that a lot of people are projecting Zach Wilson to the Jets. And so I think the 49ers might kick themselves if the Jets take Justin Fields at 2, but they might also be pretty content with taking Zach Wilson. And maybe that's why they went to 3, because they're like, well, Fields or Wilson are going to be there. We'd prefer Fields, so we'll be okay at 3, thinking the Jets are going to take Wilson. But if they do take Fields, we'll be okay with Wilson there too.
I wouldn't mind seeing Trey Lance in San Francisco either. So
yeah, and Trey Lance has some pretty high upside, but he's got some work to do to get to the NFL level.
He's pretty raw. So who do you guys think then Miami was comfortable trading back from number 3 to number 6? Who do you think that they assume will still be available to them?
Kyle Pitts.
Think so?
I don't know, though. Maybe Kyle Pitts might not even be available there, but if it's...
I have heard rumors about Kyle Pitts being the guy they're looking at.
Yeah, I actually think that's who they take, unless somehow Jamar Chase makes it past the 5th pick. Then maybe they go Jamar Chase there. But, people are insane for Kyle Pitts right now, and it's likely going to be quarterback, first 3 picks, maybe even
4.
Maybe even the first 4 picks. 4 of the first 5 picks, right? Who's at 4? Is it the Falcons?
Falcons.
That's okay. So it may even be quarterback first 4 picks.
I've heard Trey Lance being possibly projected to go right there to the Falcons. So,
and then if that's the case, there's talk now about Joe Burrow wanting Jamar Chase at Cincinnati at 5. But there's also been a lot of projecting Penei Sewell there to protect Joe Burrow. So I think Kyle Pitts is the guy for Miami at 6.
Might be.
Any you think it's for sure Pitts there, Chance?
I think it's going to be Pitts. I definitely think the Bengals will draft Penei Sewell at 5. Burrow getting hurt, they want to keep him alive because he did show glimpses of being a very good quarterback. for the Bengals. So I think they need to protect them the most as they can. So I think Jamar Chase could fall back to 6. I don't think it'll happen, but Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts, I'd be on that.
Oof, man. But you imagine Jamar Chase with the Bengals? Ooh.
Oh, man.
That offense would be scary right
Higgins
there.
and Jamar Chase.
Tyler Boyd in the slot.
Ooh.
Joe Mixon in the backfield.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeesh.
I could see Cincinnati taking Kyle Pitts, though, too.
Yeah, I mean,
they need a tight end.
Drew Sample was just a sample.
Just a sample.
That's all it was. It's just a sample.
Would you rather have a tight end, though, or someone that can protect your quarterback from tearing out their knee again?
Pretty amazing.
I
Pretty
think
amazing on the O-line, too.
I think the NFL pick would be Penei Sewell. I think the fantasy pick would be Jamar Chase. But
for sure.
We'll see. That is one of the big rumors I've been hearing, though, is that Joe Burrow has been in contact with the Bengals brass and telling them how he would like to be reunited with Jamar Chase. So we'll see. And that's something, if the Bengals are smart, you know, they want to make sure that they keep Joe Burrow happy. That's for sure, especially within light of all this Deshaun Watson / Russell Wilson / other quarterback unrest.
So Alex, if Jamar Chase goes to the Bengals, where does he finish at in wide receiver rankings?
Oof. If he goes to the Bengals, I don't know. I mean, he could be. If Joe Burrow
stays healthy.
If he stays healthy and he plays he could be. Oof.
Instantly my top 5 wide receiver.
Monstrous. I mean, we could see some. Man,
see a Justin Jefferson-like season?
Justin Jefferson-esque like season, I think. It'd be wild. I mean, they already have the connection. It's not like they have to, figure each other out. They already know each other from playing in college. Yep. So it would be, that'd be scary.
Would be very, very interesting.
That'd be fun to see. I'd love to watch the Bengals if that happened.
Oh man. Yeah. Where do you think Jamar would go in a rookie draft? So let's say our draft, our 12 team or our 10 team Superflex rookie draft. Where do you think Jamar would go if he goes to the Bengals?
Top 4 for sure.
I was gonna say top 5, no doubt.
Oh. Yeah. I got the 106, so I'm just going to miss out.
I'd say top 4.
No!
Just like Justin Jefferson, right, Alex?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Well,
Boom,
in the end, I didn't need him, did I, Chance?
Oh, ouch. All right, fair enough.
Oh, my gosh. That still burns me to this day. I can't believe that. Anyway, so yeah, that was a big trade. I mean, the NFL looked like fantasy football there for a quick second with all the moves of the first and thirds and seconds. It was crazy. It was pretty cool.
Fun.
It was pretty cool to see.
So much fun. Yeah, that was good. It was nice getting those updates. Like
I thought it was an error at first. That second trade that came in with the Eagles and the Dolphins. I was like, wait, what? No, they did some with San Fran. Like, no, they didn't. What?
And they did.
They literally did.
That was an exciting 10 minutes.
It was wild. It was crazy. So, what other rumor mill rumors have you guys heard?
I know Chance has been dying to ask you a question.
Oh, okay.
So the rumor I've been hearing a lot is Russell Wilson leaving Seattle and the top team wanting him, or the top destination is Chicago Bears.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What do you think about that, Alex?
No, I don't like it, obviously, but I think I don't think it's happening this year.
Does the rumor hold any water, Alex?
No, it's like a Swiss cheese knife. It's got holes all up in it.
Oh, it's poking holes. It's got holes
all up in it.
Who knows?
Supposedly, the Bears already made their Godfather offer to the Seahawks, and they turned it down. So whether I don't know if anyone really know. Well, what was it rumored? It's supposed to be like 2 firsts, a third, and then 2 starters, like 2 starter caliber players, and nobody knows who the starter caliber players were. So, and I know the big hang up on it was the Bears don't have a quarterback to be able to send back in that. So the Seahawks could actually, have a quarterback, or they don't have a high enough draft pick to be able to draft a quarterback for them. So I don't think it happens this year unless they just come back and say, listen, we'll give you what you want. Just tell us. So, I don't think that happens, but I do think if things don't get better between the Seahawks and Russell this year, by next year, I think it is a very real possibility that Russ and Seattle are done.
My theory is they signed Andy Dalton to add in to the deal because Pete Carroll loves him some Andy Dalton.
Oh my gosh.
So,
and from what I heard, Khalil Mack would have to be part of the trade. Andy Dalton, Khalil Mack, some draft picks, early draft picks. What do you think, Alex?
You better give us Khalil Mack. You better give us Allen Robinson. You better give us Andy Dalton. You better give us 2 first-round picks and 2 seconds. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see.
Let's go into Dreamworld Trades.
Yeah.
Segment brought to you by Dreams.
Dreamland. But
not a sponsor.
Ultimately, I don't think the Bears are going to be able to have enough to offer to the Seahawks for them to actually do it. So, yeah.
I think Russell Wilson wants out. And I think the Seahawks don't necessarily want him out, but I think he wants out.
I think if they keep up with the same offense, like they don't fully entrust the entire offense into Russ's hands, I think he's going to want out because he wants to go somewhere where he is, the sun either rises or sets on Russ, As
a Denver fan, I would gladly trade for Russell Wilson.
What's Denver offering?
Probably just wants somewhere where he has an offensive line and doesn't have to run for his life all the time.
That probably that too, but
we would offer the same that we would have offered for Deshaun Watson.
What's that?
I can't remember what I concocted, but there were different offers. What was it?
We're in Dreamland. What is it? Formulate best offer.
Oh,
if you had one chance to make an offer to the Seahawks, yes or no,
oh man,
like what would it be? They only give you one of 2 answers, and you only got one chance.
For when we were talking about the Deshaun Watson stuff, it was like 3 firsts. It was like 3 firsts, 2 seconds, and then like 2 defensive players.
3 firsts, 2 seconds.
But it wasn't Bradley Chubb or Justin Simmons. There was a defensive lineman that was pretty good this last year, and the name escapes me right now. It wasn't Shelby Harris, and then a linebacker was like in there as well. But I know that was a discussion between us in the chairman groups at some point. When we were talking about Denver possibly trading for Deshaun Watson. And
unfortunately, I don't think the Broncos would have. They're in the same boat as the Bears. They don't have a viable quarterback with upside.
Oh yeah, Drew Lock would have been
included.
Fair
in enough.
That. Yeah, Drew Lock would have been included in that too.
Barf. So,
but
they gotta. I think whatever team, the most enticing team would be somebody that has a quarterback with some somewhat upside to them. Like we heard the Jets there right at the beginning of these whole Russell Wilson things, and the whole thing was, Pete Carroll loves him some Sam Darnold, USC ties. So I think
they're good buddies.
Yeah, good buddies. So yeah, I just don't see it happening this year.
I am with you. I don't think he gets moved, but it sounds like there is some rough waters there in Seattle a little bit.
Yeah. I won't deny it. There's some
slight waves.
Where there's smoke, there's usually fire. So, speaking of quarterbacks, let's get into this other rumor mill. Well, how about this? Let's start out with over under 9.5 games. Deshaun Watson playing this year. with the Texans.
That's hard to say, dude.
As of right now, I'm going to say under.
Under.
What's your gut feeling, though? Like, I mean, obviously, as of right now, I'd say under. But what's your gut feeling the way it all plays out?
With the Texans, okay, so we know that Deshaun Watson is being accused of all this sexual misconduct and things with massage therapists, and it just seems to get worse and worse and worse as the days draw on. And there's been all sorts of talk about how odd the timing is because he's wanted out of Houston and Houston's refusing to trade him, and he's saying he's absolutely not going to play another down for the Texans. So there's a lot of talk about the odd timing. Then there's the connection of the lawyer of all these different cases coming forward who had some sort of connection to ownership or leadership in the Texans organization. And so it's just all of it's odd. And, we can't speculate on whether the guy is innocent or guilty, and whether he is, if he's guilty, then he needs to suffer the consequences and he is scum of the earth. But if it's all false and it's all fabricated and somebody is like colluding against Deshaun Watson, then all those people need to suffer the consequences and deal with that. So that being said,
I think either way, false or true, this is going in the NFL season. Deshaun Watson's going to miss some games,
and I think
this stuff will go for a long time. So
even if it were to come out tomorrow that he is completely innocent, it was all false and all that, I think there is a 0% chance that he plays another game for the Texans.
Yeah, I don't care which. Yeah, I don't care how it boils down. Deshaun's not playing for the Texans again.
He's done with them.
He's out.
And,
he's out of there.
And then, of course, if he is indeed found guilty, he's not playing another down in the NFL. So,
well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, probably right.
if the 22 or 24 or whatever cases it is now, or people that have come forward or whatever, and it's all found guilty, there's no way he's playing ever again.
Yeah, probably right. So
just saying.
I think our biggest stance,
what
though,
a wild storyline this has all been, though.
I don't want to speak for you guys, but
it's crazy.
My biggest stance, and I think you guys might agree, is just let's just get down to the facts and the truth, and hopefully the legal system can shake all that out. So
whoever is in the wrong
needs to get punished.
Yes, whoever is in the wrong hopefully is the one that is found guilty. So
we're all in agreement on that.
Yeah.
For sure. Crazy stuff. It has not been an off season without storylines and drama and keeping us on the edge of our seats waiting for the NFL to just get up and rolling again.
No kidding.
Is that all we got for rumor mill stuff today?
I think for now, yeah.
For
Unless
now,
you guys,
I think so.
You guys got any more?
We got a nice long episode for all you fantasy chairman podheads out there. And
no, we got to think of something better than podheads. That's bad.
That's the first time that's used, and likely the last time.
That's a bit rough.
That's we're not coming to you as frequently as we'd like. Crazy times during the spring for sure, busy schedules and all that. We got Chance here, auditioned. Chance, I think you did pretty good job. And
thank you, Ben. Thank you.
It was good talking to you. And we'll probably
we'll
probably have you on a little bit more often here now. So be expecting that. We'll be trying to have a pre-draft show come out in the next couple weeks, and then a post-draft show after that. And then we're going to be working on scheduling and trying to get things rolling as we move into the 2021 NFL season. Lots of excitement and good times to be had.
Yes.
By all, for all, with all.
Yes, he did well, Chance.
Everywhere.
He did well. He did not crumble.
Thank you.
He did not crumble
under the heavy lights of your own room.
The high stressors. Yeah, maybe next time we record, we'll have another one, and you can join us here in studio.
Maybe.
Oh, with you guys? I get the privilege to do that with you guys?
You may just get that privilege.
We got to do some rearranging in here.
We do got to upgrade the room a bit, for sure. We got all this signed memorabilia we got to post up and decorate this place up with.
Yeah, I don't even own half of it as a thing, so, you know.
Well, neither do I. It all belongs to the Fantasy Sasquatch.
You own about half of it.
It's all Matt's.
Get it out of here.
It's all the Squatches. Gotta try to maybe get him back up and rolling as well. But we're here for you. We love football, fantasy football, the NFL.
We appreciate you guys.
Times. Chance.
Thank you, guys.
Give us some good words. Good words of goodbye. Good and appreciation.
Thank you guys for having me on the show. It was great talking with you.
Good words. Good words.
All right. We're rambling off into madness now. That'll do it for the Fantasy Chairmen podcast. It's a new NFL season. Let's have some fun, and we'll see you later. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Chairman Fantasy, at Fantasy Squatch, and at Find FF Leagues.
Yes, and download and rate and review us on all your podcast and listening devices. We'd greatly appreciate it. Stay happy, stay healthy. We'll catch you next time.
Goodbye.